I'm happy because I know that when someone writes, if they were to write, a history of comedy in America in the last third of the 20th century, they'd have to include me. I just know they can't leave me out. That's what I'd like to be remembered as, someone who made enough of a mark that they can't leave him out when they write about it, you know. And for my epitaph on the tombstone, I would like one of two things. Either he was just here a minute ago, or too hip for the room. I began with a dream of being Danny Kaye, which is a very mainstream dream. It's very middle America. It's a people pleaser job. And I dreamed a path that was traditional. Comedian, disc jockey, comedian, actor, big success. A mainstream dream. Meanwhile, what I really was an outlaw and a rebel because I had lived that kind of life. I got kicked out of 3 different schools. I got kicked out of the Air Force. I got kicked out of the choir. I got kicked out of the altar boys. I got kicked out of summer camp. I got kicked out of the Boy Scouts. And I quit school at 9th grade. I had great marks. I was a smart kid, but I didn't care. They weren't teaching what I want. I didn't give a shit. It's important in life if you don't give a shit. It can help you a lot. And I was I was a pot smoker when I was 13. We broke the law. We broke into cars. We broke into offices. We broke into Columbia University. We broke into stores. We did all sorts of unlawful things. And I was that kind of person. I was one who swam against the tide of what is expected and what the establishment wants from us. But I didn't know that about myself because this dream blinded me. This dream was about America, about the path that we all follow, the middle of the road, middle class America, mainstream will dream. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there like this, you know, fuck those people. Fuck that shit. Look at this stupid shit. No, I don't want to be in the bunny number. Can I get out of the bunny number, please? I don't want to put on that fucking uniform. You know, and I didn't know this dissonance was inside me. And in the period this is happening, all through the 60s, the counterculture was forming. The free speech movement started in Berkeley. The hippies were growing into a force. Peace, love, flower power, pot smoking, anti-authority. See, bing, ding, 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 anti-authority. Throw over the establishment. Burn down the math building? Wow. Ding, 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 ding. So I gravitated toward that because I was that person, really. And the people I hung around with were that way. The musicians I knew in the late 50s had gone through that transition. Suddenly they looked different and their music changed. And I'm listening to people like the Buffalo Springfield. I'm listening to Bob Dylan. I'm listening to these people and I realize these artists are using their talent to project their feelings and ideas, not just please people. And I began to take some acid and some mescaline. I didn't overdo it. I had a couple of trips that weren't the best, but I had a lot of great trips. And that is a values-changing drug. Hallucinogens are a value changer. So is marijuana. Like it or not, it changes your values. It opens up windows, doors of perception, Aldous Huxley called them. And you see things differently. And I suddenly was able to see my place and to realize I was in the wrong place. You see, in 1967, the summer of love, the peak of the hippie movement, I was 30. I was entertaining people in nightclubs who were 40. And they were at war with their kids who were 20. There was a generation war. I was in the middle of it. I was 30, 20, 40. And I said, what the fuck am I doing over here? These are the people that will at least understand me and give me a chance. I was just expanding. I was just expanding naturally. It wasn't forced. I had denied that part of myself, and finally it came into full flower. And I never became a really big success until that. I probably had 200 television appearances by that time, and I still wasn't realized as a writer, comedian, as a comedian. By that I mean I hadn't let myself grow into that, and I found out later I was more than just a comedian. I read something when I was still a comedian in the Greenwich Village. A friend of mine, Bob Altman, not Robert Altman, Bob Altman. He told me about Arthur Koestler's act of creation. He showed a triptych, a 3-paneled illustration. And that was the progression of a creative person. And the jester was in the first triptych. And the jester is, of course, a person who makes jokes. He makes these funny jokes. But if he has ideas attached, if the jokes are built on sound ideas, if there's something philosophical in his thinking that the jokes illuminate, then he's a bit of a philosopher too. So he goes to the second part of the triptych. Jester becomes jester philosopher now. And if he does those things with marvelous language, language that thrills us, particularly graceful combinations of words and runs and rhythms of language, then he becomes a poet as well. And so the jester has become a philosopher poet, and he's all one. And I read that at a very young period before my development really kicked into gear. And yet somehow it stayed with me. And I think I can now do a little justice to that theory. I think I can claim to have my essay, they're essays now. There are sound ideas in them. The jokes are great. I would never run from jokes. Joke, 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 joke. I love big jokes. I love fat jokes. I love home run jokes. And I just put in 5 or 6 more the other day in this piece that's almost finished. And I love the jokes. But the jokes are there to decorate the ideas. The ideas are about what I don't like in this country, what it is I'm sort of kind of disenchanted by in my fellow man, my fellow human, and my fellow American. So those are the ideas. But then I found that I have this ability my father had to be really good with language and to put it into kind of interesting sounding bits and snatches and runs and trills and things. And so I've kind of gotten that. I mean, I kind of have inherited that. And now I feel fully realized as a performing writer. See, I used to think of myself as a writer, as a performer who wrote his own material. I always bragged about that in interviews. I'd say, I write my own material, because a lot of comedians didn't. I'd say, I'm a comedian, but I write my own material. Now I think I'm a writer who performs his own material. I write, but I have 2 places for it, books and on stage. And then on stage it becomes HBO. HBO saved me, because my record career had pretty much died down. I had 4 gold records in the early 70s, and you can't be the new hot guy in town forever. So I began to fade and then run out of ideas. I drifted a while. HBO came along. In 77, I did my first show for them. They didn't have many subscribers. 78, I did another one, and I was on my way. I've now done 13 of them, and number 14 is coming. And that is what has kept me in front of a mass audience without censorship. I don't mean just fuck, shit, and piss. I mean ideas that would be unwelcome on commercial enterprise television, because commercials, it's in the word. It's a commercial enterprise. They can't allow you to be upsetting the customers. No. Can you soften that a little? I don't do that. I burned that out. Those 4 albums, like I say, you can't be the fastest gun in town forever. Somebody comes to town, he's a little bit faster than you. So your day is over. So my album career had faded, and I didn't have a personal vision of myself anymore. I had gone through what I think of as my autobiographical stage. I talked about how when I was a Catholic, when I was a kid, when I was a neighborhood kid, when I was in school, when I was a classroom clown, I talked about my faith, all that stuff. So I had done an autobiographical period, and then I started to get into what they call observational comedy, trivia. Did you ever notice that the second toe sometimes is longer than the first toe, and or that stuff like, you ever take the stuff out in between your toes and put it in a ball and throw it, and these things that have no import at all, but they're universal. See, the comedian thrives on not having to explain the frame of reference to an audience. All you have to do is say, detention. I was sent to detention, and everybody knows what that means. You don't have to go, you can say one word and they're in the world with you. So you look for those universal things if you can find them. And that's what those things served for me. But it was a casting about, it was a wallowing in the backwater of this rush of career success I'd had. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where to go. That's when I kept doing the Tonight Shows. I kept doing Tonight Shows, and I hosted it a lot of times, maybe 15, I don't know. I hosted it, and I was on the road. See, the Tonight Shows, I could tell people where I was going on the road. And the road made me work hard on things. And HBO, even though I did 77 and 78, HBO didn't kick in for me till 82. That was the beginning of it, really, the third show. Carlin at Carnegie, oddly enough. And then I did one every 2 years, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90, 92. And that's when I learned who I was in that period. HBO fed the box office all across the country. The box office people in the theaters, then they knew about me for HBO. They wanted to see the show. The show got good numbers. I got another HBO. Every 2 years I got an HBO. I did one. It forced me to write and to write because I kept having an HBO on the horizon. 2 years down the road, I'm going to do another one. Got to have a whole new hour. So I would write like a bastard and I would save my files. And I finally got into word processing. And I saw what the wonders of moving text. Moving text. You can take the whole opening and put it at the end. You can take the middle and put it at the end. You can split the opening in half and you can do this goes here. You can put the document up 3 times. You can change everything around. It's magnificent. It changed my writing qualitatively, not just quantitatively, that I could write faster and more. It actually changed what I was doing because I had a better command of the material that I had to work with. I could see the whole thing. And I grew up in the 80s on HBO. And in 1992 is when I found my voice. And I realized I was a writer who performed his own material. And I had things to say. There was a long piece in there called The Planet is Fine.
The people are fucked.
And it was a very good analysis of why it's not important to save the planet. It's more important to save yourself. And the planet may come, the planet's going to be here. We'll go away. We'll go away because we'll fix that up. We'll arrange that. We'll self-immolate. We'll be gone. Dinosaurs had their chance. There was an age of reptiles. Now it's the age of primates. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the insects next. It's not up to us. It's not divinely ordained. We're here on chance, and we're going to go away. And the planet will heal. The planet will heal because that's what it does. It heals itself. It's a self-healing organism. It changes and grows. It'll incorporate all of our dead cities into itself, and it will become something else, but it will still be going around the sun for at least a few more billion years or whatever. So this whole thing, we have to save the planet by not putting diapers in the landfill. That's too short-sighted. It doesn't do anything. You have to change yourself. And we'll never do that because the dollars now, everybody wants $1 and a toy. Everybody's got a cell phone that'll make pancakes and rub their balls. So nobody wants to rock the boat. Nobody wants to change. Don't change anything. And we're in a nice downward glide. I call it circling the drain. That's what I'm going to call my next book. Circling the drain. And the circles get smaller and smaller and faster if you watch a drain. If you watch a sink empty, and we'll be gone. And that's fine. I welcome it. I wish I could live 1,000 years to watch it happen from a distance so I could see it all.
Planet has been through a lot worse than us for a long time. Been through earthquakes, volcanoes, plate tectonics, continental drift, solar flares, sunspots, magnetic storms, the magnetic reversal of the poles, bombardments for hundreds of thousands of years by comets and asteroids and meteors, sandstorms, erosion of all kinds, cosmic radiation, worldwide fires, worldwide floods, recurring ice ages. And we think some aluminum cans and some plastic bags are going to make a difference? Planet isn't going anywhere. We are. We're going away. We're going away.
I gave up on this stuff. I gave up on my species, and I gave up on my fellow Americans. I gave up on my countrymen. Because I think we squandered great gifts. I think humans were given great, great gifts. Walking upright, binocular vision, opposable thumb, large brain, making tools. Make tools, large brain, make better tools. Talk, have to like language. You take this, put in here. We learned language, the brain got bigger, language. We grew. We had great gifts, and we gave it all up for both money and God. God and mammon, both. We gave it up to the high priests. It's your job. It's God's will. That's what they say. People say it's God's will. That means God can do anything he wants, so why pray? They say, you pray for something. Okay, he didn't answer my prayers. Well, it's God's will. Well, if it's God's will, why did I even pray in the first place? He's going to do what he wants anyway. We gave it all up to superstition, primitive shit, Invisible man in the sky looking down, keeping track of what we do, make sure we don't do the wrong thing. If we do, he puts us in hell and we burn forever. That kind of shit is very limiting. It's very limiting for this brain we have. So we keep ourselves limited, and then we want a toy and a gizmo and gold, and we want shiny things, and we want something to plug in that'll make big things for us. And all that shit is nothing. It's nothing. We gave it all up. And Americans, who also had great gifts, when you take the theory of democratic rule, self-government, okay, they started off wrong. They owned slaves. They didn't let women vote. They didn't let people who didn't own land vote. Fine. They got off on the wrong foot. But the ideas were good. But we fucking blew that. We polluted it. We polluted it with this stuff, things, material goods, games, gizmos, toys, gadgets, having possessions. He's got a bigger truck. He says, see his truck? It's bigger than mine. I'm getting a new truck. Here's a big truck. Oh, I'm getting that one. That's what, you got a video in it? You DVD too? He don't have a DVD. I got a DVD, you know. Oh, please. Whatever happened? And all of that is what happened, you know? And that's why I'm divorced from it now. I see it from a distance. I give myself a divorce. I said, George, emotionally you have no stake in this. You don't care one way or another. So watch it. Have fun. You know what? I say it this way. When you're born in this world, you're given a ticket to the freak show. And when you're born in America, you're given a front row seat. And some of us get to sit there with notebooks. And I'm a notebook. And oh my God, did you see that? Did you see what he just... And I watch the freak show, and I get my notes, and I make up stuff about it, and I talk about the freaks. And the freaks are all humans, and they're like me, and they're all the same. We're all the same. I'm not better. I'm not different. I'm just apart now. I'm separate. I'm over here because I put myself out of the mix. I don't have a stake in the outcome. I'm not a cheerleader for a given outcome now. Oh, they say if you scratch a cynic, you'll find a disappointed idealist. And I would admit that somewhere underneath all of this, there's a little flicker of a flame of idealism that would love to see it all whoosh, change. But it can't happen that way. And incremental change, it just seems like the pile of shit is too deep. It seems like there's too much to do. To do it all, to do everything you would need to clean this act up of a human, you know, too much. And there are forces that don't want that. You have big companies, big pharmaceuticals, big oil, big petrochemical, big insurance, big real estate, big agribusiness. All these people feeding each other. They don't give a shit about borders anymore. It's all international. It's multinational. There are no borders. This is obsolete. Someday, if we all lasted long enough, someday there'd be no borders. There'd be one language and one currency. That would happen. But we still, you know what Robert Anton Wilson said? Every border in Europe is an arbitrary line where two groups of bandits grew tired of fighting and decided to rest for a while. That's all we are about. We're going over there. What do they got? Oh, they got bigger stones on the other. Don't you see the guys who live down? How about the people on the cliff? They got trees. Let's go. Let's get to beat the shit out of them. They got women there. You know, we always want what we don't have. And I'm happy with what comes my way and getting to write these things I write.
Thank you. I'd like to begin. Thank you. I'd like to begin by saying, fuck Lance Armstrong. Fuck him and his balls and his bicycles and his steroids and his yellow shirts and the dumb, empty expression on his face. I'm tired of that asshole. And while you're at it, fuck Tiger Woods, too.
My mother went through an interesting transition with all this. We lived on the same street as my church and my school, Corpus Christi School, and we had these wonderful nuns that I described to you, Sinsinawa Dominicans. All of them had master's degrees in education from secular institutions. Our pastor insisted on that. We were an experimental Catholic parochial school. We were not traditional discipline mills like you hear about with the rulers and the beatings and the nuns, and we didn't have that. We had a lovely place, a garden. And these nuns walk around the neighborhood on their daily afternoon walk. They go two at a time. It's a famous old cartoon. The two nuns are coming, and the drunk is walking down the street, and they walk around, and one each walks around him, and he says, how did he do that? And, you know, they're always in pairs. Now I'm on The Tonight Show a lot, and now my album is out, and I'm doing the dirty words. The two of the nuns, my mother sees them as she's out herself on a walk. They said, "Oh, Mrs. Carlin, isn't it wonderful about George? He's doing so well, and he's on Johnny Carson, and the album is..." And my mother, ever the, let's call her hypocrite with lowercase letters, okay? She's just a little bit fake at times. She says, "Oh, I know, sister, but oh, the language. Oh, the awful language, sister. Oh." And they said, no, Mrs. Carlin, you have to understand. He's doing that for a purpose. He's trying to show that the words themselves aren't really harmful. It's what's behind the thought behind them that counts. So it's really okay and everything. She said, oh, I see. And from then on, my mother was okay with this stuff. She had gotten the imprimatur from the church. Let it be printed. Let it go forward. This is good. The church approves. She got that from them. And then she became the star's mother. And she was, God bless her, I love her so much. She, on the Broadway bus, on the way to work, she would say to someone, "Have you heard the comedian George Carlin? He's going to be on Johnny Carson this week. You Tuesday night, now you watch. That's my son." "Oh, your son?" "Yeah." My mother, this is my mother. I'm doing my mother now, telling the story back to me. She's very proud. And once she understood that I had a kind of a purpose, but she always would say to me, "I can't wait till someday you come back to the church and I see you receiving communion in the tuxedo. You look so good in the tuxedo and the dirty hippie stuff, with the dirty beard." And I say, "I know, Ma, Carnegie Hall, I'm going." And she went there and she was aghast. I mean, she was ashen afterward in the dressing room because she was still getting used to this idea that I was being rewarded for this bad language, anti-religious attitude, anti-business. She was from the business world. She loved the advertising business. I was going to be her white hope, the great white hope. "You'll be in advertising someday. You go to college and you'll be just like Mr. West in my office. You'll be in advertising." And I couldn't bear the thought of any of that. But I didn't tell her that. I just went my way. But she held these things in special regard. And here I was tearing them down. Very difficult for her.
Reminds me of something my first grade teacher used to say to me. Little lady. She used to say, "You show me a tropical fruit and I'll show you a cocksucker from Guatemala."
She heard this hour and a half or more of approval, laughter, applause, approval, laughter, applause, smiles, acceptance. And then they stood up at the end and she didn't know it had reached this level. She didn't know it had this force, this power to it. And she was kind of like that, in the dressing room. But she grew into it okay. She always would say, "I pray for you every night that you'll come back to the church." And I say, "Ma," and I told her once, I said, "Ma," you got to understand something. I'm a moral person. That's all the church wants me to be. I don't have to go to a building once a week to be moral. I am honest. I treat people well. I do the right things. I have a nice baby. I have my wife. I treat them well. I'm good. I'm a good man, I know, but, this is, I know, but she could never understand that. It was her sorrow,
I started to question all this stupid hat shit when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I was a Catholic, at least until I reached the age of reason, okay? So I was a Catholic for about 2.5 years, something like that. And during that time, one of the things they told us was that if a boy or a man went into a church, he had to remove his hat in order to honor the presence of God. But they had already told me that God was everywhere. So I used to wonder, well, if God is everywhere, why would you even own a hat? Why not show your respect? Don't even buy a fucking hat.
My pattern is after the HBO show is finished, I know that hour perfectly. I know it beautifully. And I have some things that I had to leave out that I cut, in the last 3 or 4 months for time. Just cut certain things because I do about an hour and 20 on stage. So I had about 20 minutes left over every time. I would take that 20, bring them back to life, and put them in the stand-up show. And I would do the HBO show. I would coast with the old material for about 6 months. Just coast with it because I found there's no overlap with the concert audience. They don't say, oh, we saw that on HBO. There's none of that feeling. They love seeing it again, if they have seen it before, and a lot of them don't have HBO. A lot of them don't watch it all the time. A lot of them, there are various reasons people in the audience didn't see a show, and there are lots of them. So they love seeing the material, and the laughs tell me they haven't heard it. The laughs tell me they haven't heard it before. So I feel safe coasting for 6 months. At the end of the coasting period, I'm a little tired of the material by then, so I take one piece that I have from my vast ocean of shit that's moving up in the chain toward being next. I have things that call out to me in the computer, things that kind of say, hey, George, it's like a guy on a football, second team on the football bench. Put me in, coach, put me in. These things cry out to me, put me in, George, we're next, And there are things, I'll read them in the computer, and I get excited here. I just feel it in my stomach. I get a little excitement, and I think, I got to tell them this. Wait till I tell them this. They got to hear this. That's the process. They got to hear this. This is fucking great. Then I would take that out of the computer, fix it up. Take it out of the files, put it up, and start working on that piece. And just getting a piece that's good enough to take out on stage with the papers. And I read it. Doing the whole show without reading the one piece, or read a new piece. Start to memorize, start to get it. Now I got it. It keeps changing. Now I got a new piece in. It's like a sock. If you darn a sock, the old riddle was, if you take a sock and begin to darn holes in it, if you darn it over the long period of time, if you darn it enough times until finally there's none of the original sock material left, is it the same sock or is it a different sock? I don't know. It's all different, but that's the same sock. So that's the show. I start darning it, I start putting in a new piece, taking out one, putting in one, taking out one. It begins to grow. By about a year of doing that, I have a good idea what I want in the show, and I'll force feed some more things. I do strict memory work at home, trying to learn. I don't always want to read them from the paper for a while. It's a good way to learn them, reading them from paper, but I read that poem, A Modern Man. I read that for 2 years off the paper. Then one night I put the paper down and I had it. But most of the time I learned them at home, and I just build a show. It's like putting another piece of clay on the sculpture, and I round it off and I fix it up, and pretty soon I got a finished piece for the gallery,
Here's one more item for you, the last in our civics book. Rights. Boy, everyone in this country's always running around yammering about their fucking rights. I have a right, you have no right, we have a right, they don't have a right. Folks, I hate to spoil your fun, but there's no such thing as rights, okay? They're imaginary. We made them up, like the boogeyman. The Three Little Pigs, Pinocchio, Mother Goose, shit like that. Rights are an idea. They're just imaginary. They're a cute idea. Cute. But that's all. Cute and fictional. But if you think you do have rights, let me ask you this. Where do they come from? People say, well, they come from God. They're God-given rights. Oh, fuck, here we go again. Here we go again.
This show I'm doing now, I didn't know what this show would be. This one that's going to happen in March. It's called It's Bad For You, which is the last part of a sentence it's all bullshit, folks. It's all bullshit, and it's bad for you. And I'm talking about bullshit in America. Bullshit in government, bullshit in religion, bullshit in the commerce, bullshit in the system. Just the bullshit we tolerate. The stuff we live with, it's like wallpaper. There's so much bullshit. And I say bullshit is the glue that binds us as a nation. It's like the strong nuclear force in an atom. And I have all this stuff, and the last part is all about God bless America, proud to be an American, swearing on the Bible, taking off your hat when a flag passes by, and rights. Everybody thinks they have rights. And I tell them why they don't have any rights. Because your rights can disappear so they're not rights, they're privileges, like staying up late to watch television on a school night. You have a bill of privileges, not a bill of rights, a bill of temporary privileges. And I do this wonderful whole thing. It's about 12 to 15 minutes long, this breaking down, proud to be an American, and God bless America, and swearing on the Bible. It's just fun to go after these things that no one's really thought much about. We just take them all for granted. Oh, yeah, so I swear on the Bible. Well, suppose the Bible's upside down. Does that count? Suppose it's backwards. Suppose it's both. Suppose some of the pages are missing. Suppose it's a Chinese Bible or a Braille Bible. Or suppose they give you an upside-down Chinese Braille Bible with half the pages missing. Does that count? Do you have to tell the truth? Or who? And pretty soon all this shit breaks down and becomes something we made up. It's bullshit. We made it up. It's fucking make-believe, folks. It's like the boogeyman. We made that up, It's all fucking make-believe. And people they cling to these things. Not my audience. My audience is glad to hear me get in there with the roto-rooter and the deep enema and clean the system out. I mean, I love doing this stuff. It's just such a joy.